Hello everyone. In this class, I will discuss what is the degree of freedom in statistics that we are using in t-test. So what is the meaning of that degree of freedom? Let's look at by using one example. So imagine you have three pair of pens. So on Monday, you have three choices available out of this three pair. After that on Tuesday, again you have two choice left. Okay. But what about Wednesday? There is no choice, correct? Only one pair is left. That means that pair is locked. So we have only 2 degree of freedom in that case. So Wednesday there is no choice left. That means that is called zero freedom. Okay, you have to wear the last pair only that is left. It is completely locked in. So total in the starting we have three pairs, but choice we are getting only two. So that is called degree of freedom, which is two times only. So that is the meaning of degree of freedom. So if you apply in statistics, the degree of freedom is nothing but that three pairs minus one locked pair. So two free choices. That is the degree of freedom in that example. So in statistics, total data points, that is our total n value sample size, minus one locked point. This is the formula to find out the degree of freedom. Total data points minus one locked point. So the exact number of pieces of data that are actually free to vary when you are calculating statistics. Okay, means degree of freedom means how many numbers are free to vary, how many data set are free to vary. That is called degree of freedom. Let's look at one more example to understand better. So the one thing is, why do we subtract 1? Okay, so this restriction usually comes from calculation we have already done, most commonly when we find the average. Okay, so for example, if you know the average of a set of numbers, the very last number in the set has no freedom at all. It completely locked in by the other numbers. Look at the example. So let's take four numbers. Okay, and you have to just pick any four number randomly such that their average must be equal to 10. Okay, so what is the formula for average formula we have? Average means mean. Okay, so mean should be what? 10. So the formula to find out mean is nothing but in the denominator total numbers, and in the numerator total sum of that numbers. Okay, so here we have taken four numbers, so denominator is 4. Now what is the sum in the numerator such that the answer is 10? So the sum should be 40, correct? So we have four numbers you have to select. So let's say you can select the first number, any number randomly. Second number also you can select randomly. Third number also you can select randomly. But the fourth number, that is locked to get the sum 40. Okay, so why it is locked? For example, suppose let's say the first number you have selected, that is 12. Okay, the second number you selected 8. Okay, you can select any number, that is also free to vary. First is also free to vary. Third number also you can select any number. Okay, but to get sum to be 4 total, 40 total, the fourth number must be not free to vary, that is fixed. Okay, because already 12 plus 8 plus 15. Okay, so now how much is remaining to make the sum 40? Okay, here one fixed number will come, correct? So the fourth number is not free to vary, so that is locked. So that's why we are subtracting 1 when we are calculating the degree of freedom. Okay, so look at here, the last number was 5. We cannot change that, otherwise the sum is not 40. So because the sum must be 40, the moment you choose the first three number, the fourth number is instantly locked by a fixed number. Okay, so in the originally we have taken four numbers, but degree of freedom, that means that only three numbers out of four you can choose freely. That can freely you can it can be varied. Okay, so the degree of freedom is here 3. So understood why we are subtracting the 1. So what if you have only one data point? Okay, so suppose only one data point means n is equal to 1. Then what is the degree of freedom? That means 1 minus 1, according to formula, 1 minus 1 is equal to 0 degree of freedom. That means you cannot measure how much data vary with 0 degree of freedom. Okay, you need at least 1 degree of freedom to even speak about the variation or spread, correct? So for single data point, you cannot, there is no choice, no at all. So that's why degree of freedom is 0. Otherwise, whenever degree of freedom is 0, you cannot measure how data varies. So minimum at least one degree of freedom we require to tell something about the data. So the degree of freedom is different formula according to two sample or one sample test. So if it is one sample test, then the degree of freedom formula is n minus 1, number of sample size minus 1. Okay. So to calculate one sample mean, so here 1 degree of freedom we lost, and whenever two sample t test is there, the degree of freedom formula is n1 plus n2 minus 2. N1 means sample size of the first, second sample size of the population, and we have to subtract here 2 minus. Okay, so in this case we are losing 2 degrees. Next, the golden rule of degree of freedom. So degree of freedom tells you how much truly independent information you have left to work with, nothing else. The more constraints you build into your model, the fewer degree of freedom you have. So this is at all the degree of freedom. If you like this video, then share with your friends. Thank you very much.